I do not fear your power. Then you are a fool. Let us begin.
Hello, Michael McWhertor. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good, Charlie Hall. Thank you for asking.
Well, when I think about fighting games and the professionals here we've got on Polygon's staff, I generally don't think of myself. I think of you, sir. So that's why I wanted you to stop by so we could have a little chat about the hands-on time we both recently had with Mortal Kombat X.
Yeah, I'm a longtime Mortal Kombat fan. Always interested in the fighting game genre. And I'm a fan of what they're doing with Mortal Kombat X. So tell me a little bit about what you saw recently.
Well, myself and a bunch of other fans of the series, as well as some journalists, were invited over to Chicago's NetherRealm studios, where we got, like pretty much a full day. Oh, goodness, that.
Oh, it's in the face.
Like a whole we got like a whole day with the Mortal Kombat team. We got a little studio tour, we got a little hands-on time at a gaming cafe in downtown Chicago. So I spent like a good hour and a half, 2 hours with the game, and man, it feels just as good as it did the last time I played it, which admittedly was on the Sega Genesis, but it feels the same. It feels so good.
Yeah, I think they've really kind of honed the mechanics. The Mortal Kombat series has always been kind of something, a franchise where they've kind of experimented with a lot of different modes, weapons and stances, and now they're kind of experimenting with these new fighting styles. And I think that's one of the things that's really interesting and going to add a ton of depth and also a ton of work for them to QA test the balance of this game. But yeah, I've had a lot of fun with it. I played a little bit of the story mode. I haven't played too much competitively. It's all been basically against the computer itself. But I'm looking forward to digging into it. There's a lot. I think the roster is really strong, and I'm a big fan of this variation system that they've got. It looks like you were playing what, Ermac here?
I am playing Ermac, and I'm playing Ermac with I believe his flying skill set. Now, what I'm doing is actually the ninjutsu Scorpion.
Yeah, one of the things that I think maybe people don't necessarily know about this is that there are 3 fighting variations for each character, but in general, I think you're going to experience the core fighting style of each fighter. So like Scorpion's always going to have his get over here chain spike attack. But then a lot of his other moves are going to be kind of variations on things that we've seen before, teleports and fire-based moves and things like that, and kicking Cassie Cage's jaw straight out of alignment. These moves, these X-ray moves, they're just so ridiculous. I love that in Mortal Kombat, one of the moves is just to shoot somebody in the face with 2 pistols repeatedly, and that somehow you could get up from that. And continue to fight another day. But yeah, so you messed around with some characters. You messed around with the Scorp here, and getting beat up by Cassie Cage. And so you just kind of you just played against the computer most of the time?
Yeah, I set it admittedly to the easy mode, but then I went in and I got some hands-on time with a bunch of different character sets. One of them that I really enjoyed was actually Ferrator. I also played with Devora a little bit, but all of that video got corrupted. I'm really grumpy about that. But Devora I really enjoyed. She's kind of this insect-like newer character for this time around. But yeah, we got some. They just let us loose with it and said, "Do whatever you like."
Well, I think the one of the things that's really great about the Mortal Kombat franchise is that even if you're kind of a new player, you're not playing competitively, you can have a lot of fun with these games. And there's just such a visual showcase on display and all the violence that it's so entertaining to watch and play, even if you're not really playing hardcore. And I think that's kind of becoming more rare in the fighting game space, where all these games are becoming so much more technical and focused on the hardcore player. Game like Mortal Kombat, game like Soul Calibur, I think a lot of people can kind of jump into, even if they don't have the expertise or they don't really have the background. I know that in the last Mortal Kombat game, they had a really rich tutorial mode that was really helpful, I think, for new players. And, experienced players who are looking to fight a little bit more technically, and learn some of the more subtle techniques that can make you competitive. And I haven't seen that in Mortal Kombat X yet, but I would imagine that those guys are building on what they know, and are going to make the game really accessible to newcomers.
As far as kind of getting new people into the genre, one of the things that I showed earlier on in the video here was the move screens. When you hit pause, you hit A, it expands open the move screen, and it actually gives you a very detailed listing of how many frames each move takes, of what its capabilities are versus guard, how much damage it does. So it's the first time I've ever really seen those types of numbers outside of anything other than a guidebook. They're right there on the on the pause menu, so that you can learn it and adapt your play style as you go with some really good information.
Yeah. So this is you playing as Ferrator here.
It is.
He and she are a very cool character. The 2-in-1. Oh wait, are you gonna pull off a fatality?
I managed to do it. Here we go.
Oh, nice.
Check this out.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Oh jeez.
Stack them
Yep.
up.
There's your anatomy lesson for the day.
And
Here's what lies inside the hearts of a Lin Kuei ninja.
Just a little bit of frost still coming out of Sub-Zero there too. Here's another
so
one.
another one.
And this was actually a really interesting character here. This kind of Mayan or Aztec-inspired character here. Just brutal, pulling out the guy's heart and drinking his blood.
Yeah, Kotal Khan, very cool. Neat kind of effects-based moves where you can call in like a column of light that kind of empowers him. He's a real interesting character, and I'm interested to see how he gets kind of picked up competitively. There's so many variations in this game. It really is like they're packing in almost 60 different fighters in Mortal Kombat X. And, they've kind of done that before. They've had really huge rosters. But it's going to be really interesting to see how this kind of shakes out competitively at EVO and other fighting game tournaments. They've been really good about, focusing on the balance for the Mortal Kombat and Injustice games, where they've been able to do hot fixes that don't require a patch for the game to kind of adjust moves and their damage and I think even maybe some of the frame counts for, invincibility windows and things like that. But yeah, they've just got such a huge roster in terms of variation and variety in the game. And I think a good mix of classic Mortal Kombat characters and a few interesting ones. Some of the ones they announced recently, the kind of the kids of Johnny Cage and Jax and Sonya and descendants of Kung Lao, maybe not as strong as some of the ones that you mentioned earlier, like Ferrator and Devora. But still, it's an interesting roster, and I love the kind of future setting. That I love that they're not afraid to take risks and just kind of move the franchise forward 25 years or so.
And one of the things that I definitely got to spend a lot of time with was that single-player campaign. And up on our YouTube channel and at Polygon.com, we've got about the first 30 minutes of that single-player campaign. And that whole first chapter is just cameo after cameo after cameo. There's going to be a lot of unlockable characters in this game. It looks a lot bigger than it really appears in some of these start screens that we're showing here in this particular video. So I'm excited to see what else they've got inside there to share with folks.
And I really encourage people to watch that video so that they can kind of see what the production values of the single player story campaign are, because they've really stepped it up. They're investing a ton of resources in that story, and it has always been pretty strong. Oh God.
Yeah. Katana is not messing around here. She leaves very little on the field of play, as it were. We've got one more fatality, I think, here to finish things off. One of the things that the guys at NetherRealms were saying is that with their new damage model, for the first time ever, they've been able to, as Sean put it, punch a hole in every single part of the figures. And yeah, that happens here. So I think we'll end it here. I've got an optometrist appointment I'm going to need to break early for.
Thanks, Charlie.
No worries.